Hi, I just wanted to make another video. This is kind of a response to um, Pastor Jeff's Hello Saints video recently. I love Pastor Jeff. I like his content, and I think he's doing great things for the Latter-day Saints. I think he's doing really awesome work, and I think the Lord needs him where he's at. Um, But he commented on why biblical geographical evidence. He was asking a BYU scholar, a doctor, why is knowing where the Sea of Galilee different than knowing where the city of Zarahemla is? Um, and to make it short and sweet, it has nothing to do with that location or discovering the location. It has everything to do with how did Joseph Smith know that that location existed? So with the Bible, you've got a long chain of people who've held the Bible and used it all the way back to Jesus Christ for sure, and then possibly even all the way back to Adam before that. So you just have people who've been using and holding this book continuously for that entire time. And so for something in it to be like the Sea of Galilee or, blah, 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 um, people would be like, oh, yeah, duh, because that's like a feature of the area that these people lived in. And we know about these people, we've discovered them, blah, 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 blah. There are specific locations in the Bible that would be similar to a Book of Mormon geographical discovery, like at the Tower of Babel. Most scholars believe that's a myth. So like if we found evidence of the Tower of Babel, that would be like, okay, maybe the Bible's the real thing, because and the whole reason for that though is that it's a lost thing that we have no evidence of being in a book, so like and this is exactly why Book of Mormon geography would unequivocally make the Book of Mormon true, because for Joseph Smith to know about, Western Hemisphere cities, he would have to be a prophet, because that we know for a fact that information did not exist in Joseph Smith's time, because it doesn't exist now. We don't know where these cities are for sure. There's a lot of speculation on it. I personally hold to the Mesoamerican model. I've done a lot of personal study. I'm not like a scholar or anything, but I've done a lot of personal study. And a lot of Book of Mormon descriptions line up with Mesoamerica. I think the thing that people miss about geography in the Book of Mormon is that the Book of Mormon is not the entire people on the continent. And so people go into this thinking that, oh, we should know about who these people are because they're the only people that lived here. That's just not true. There's lots of evidence in the Book of Mormon that they were not the only people there. Another thing is DNA. They think DNA evidence. And frankly, yes, there is no DNA evidence of Native Americans being Nephites or Lamanites, because there shouldn't be. Not because there isn't. It's because there shouldn't be. That even in the Book of Mormon, it describes several culture-ending wars that wiped out entire people, which would be a bottleneck in genetics. And then you've got the fact that the Book of Mormon, while it does seem, at a first reading, it does seem like it's describing the sole people on the planet, there are indications that it takes place with other people, that other people are on the new world with them. And frankly, the fossil record indicates that or maybe not the fossil, but the anthropology indicates that there were people here for a long time before the Book of Mormon took place. So I think people look at this and are undersimplifying it or oversimplifying it, we're looking for a small group of people that lived probably in a small area of the United States, not the entire thing. This isn't all the people on the planet. This is a group of people who possibly integrated into other people. My personal running theory right now is that they were a subculture in the Mayan civilization, and the Lamanites made up another culture in the Mayan civilization, and that those two, when the Lamanites took over, they eventually became the Maya, or either integrated with the Maya or became the Maya. Um, and all of that lines up with the history of the Mayan actually lines up spectacularly with the Book of Mormon. So if you're interested, you could look into that. But this is kind of a long-winded way of saying, though, that if we discovered for sure that the city of Zerahemla existed, like tomorrow, you'd have to explain how Joseph Smith knew that 200 years before we discovered it. And the longer it gets, the more that gap widens, and the more serious it becomes. Like, it's already serious now. The guy's dead. How did he know? And I want to get to the second point here. We are not going to find evidence like that. And there's a myriad of reasons. The key reason, though, is it destroys faith. And that's probably why we're not going to find the Tower of Babel or chariots on the bottom of the Red Sea. That's a huge scam video that's going around. I've seen it so many times. People are like, we found the chariots. No, they have not found the chariots. And just remember, like, you're talking about an event that happened 6,000 years ago, or 3,000, whatever, 5,000 years ago. Wood does not last 5,000 years in a water in a aquatic environment. Most metals don't survive in an aquatic environment. So if you are going to find chariots stuff, you're gonna probably be finding probably like brass of some sort. If you want and if you want to do a little bit of research, just look into the Titanic, and estimates about how much longer we can expect the Titanic to be around. It's only like 50 years. They're thinking that the entire wreck will be almost completely gone in 50 years, besides the brass components, which I believe are the propellers. So like 800 years from now, people are going to be like, they're talking about this Titanic thing, we can't find it. And of course we have a huge record that indicates that it existed. And that's kind of the clincher with the Book of Mormon and Bible stuff that hasn't been found yet, is that there aren't a lot of records that have been discovered that talk about these locations other than the Bible or the Book of Mormon. However, in the Book of Mormon's case, there's a second detail that might, and that is the fact that we might have already discovered Lamanite and Nephite cities and just don't know that we've discovered them. For example, with Mayan stuff, a lot of the Mayan names and cities we are making up. We don't know what they actually called those places. So we could have found Zarahemla already and just don't know that that's what we're looking at. And in fact, I think it's highly likely that we have, because Zarahemla was supposed to be made of stone, and that's not, and it was an inhabited city after the Nephites were gone. So it's highly unlikely that it didn't survive and it would be a sizable city. And so I think we should start by looking at cities that have been found that are large and made of, and and to me that's the Mesoamerican model, but to other people they don't see it that way. Another fascinating thing, though, is that we have discovered fortifications in Mesoamerica that do match up with descriptions in the Book of Mormon. And so that's another point in my book for things that we have already discovered that we just don't know are Lamanite or Nephite. But yeah, we are never probably going to be able to concretely identify anything as Nephite or Lamanite because it breaks faith, and faith is integral to the gospel. And I know a lot of atheists are probably going to be like, well, that's a cop out. Like you're just saying that so that you don't have to, but like it is. You have to have faith to be saved, and faith is believing and taking action in things that you don't know to be true. God wants you to take things on faith. He wants you to show initiative. God rewards people who have great faith by not making it so they don't need faith anymore. Take the brother of Jared. He saw the finger of God because of his faith was so strong. So I'm not saying that you have to have faith forever. You are eventually going to know the truth. But it's kind of like a step on the journey, and for most of us, it's a step that we have to take until the day we die. But yeah, faith, super important. We're never going to find Book of Mormon, concrete Book of Mormon evidence that absolutely, matter-of-factly establishes it as truth until probably the millennium, after Christ returns, because I imagine at that point, since it's prophesied that there will be much more truth available on the earth, that Christ may establish where the Book of Mormon took place exactly. So hopefully Christ comes soon, so we know. Anyway, I think I'm going to make another video about science, and maybe another video about archaeology. We'll see. But yeah, I just wanted to make it a little bit more clear why the Book of Mormon geography question is different than the Bible geography question. I hope this helps.